if you want to be a leader that really has an impact, everything starts and stops with you. It doesn't matter whose fault something is. It's your responsibility as the leader to make sure it happens differently the next time. And so it's this idea that no matter what goes wrong, my first thought should be, what could I have done different? Even if someone else is the one who made the mistake. As I look at my own life and taxes, it's a little bit more benign, but it doesn't matter if someone on my team did something wrong, and I can clearly see, okay, they're the ones that made the choice. My thought process needs to be, well, how could I have trained them different? What process could I have put in place? It needs to come back to me. There's this kind of this idea that no matter what goes wrong, your response should be good. That's an opportunity for improvement.
Welcome to the Nicholas Brown Podcast, a podcast talk show about real estate investing, business leadership, and personal development. Each week, we explore current real-life case studies about how to build financial independence through investing in real estate to build your personal portfolio through passive income models, along with interviews from the top business leaders and personal development leaders. Now, here's your host, Nicholas Brown.
All right. Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. We have another great topic to go on. I got a professional here, and the time of this playing is during the tax season, ladies and gentlemen. So I got a professional here also, but I want to ask one of those questions that he posted on the LinkedIn that you guys don't know. It's not just a one-time thing here. And this is a treat. So make sure you guys, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you guys should subscribe to this, because maybe in time I get this guest to come back to give you some more tips and lead you to the right source on how to get this going. If you're listening in, make sure you guys subscribe or download this so you get alert about what's going on, and send me your reviews, send me the question. That's why I send you this information. I'll send that question to our guest. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read the about section. We're going to get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. So let me begin. Today's guest is Steven Jarvis. Steven Jarvis is one of the top CPA and retirement tax services in the nation. He's also host of the Retirement Tax Services podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Steven's aim is to bridge the gap between tax professionals, financial advisors, and their mutual clients to help reduce most people's largest expense in retirement taxes. With over 10 years of experience from top accounting firms, and by partnering with some of the most successful financial advisors in the industry, Steven is uniquely positioned to help financial advisors deliver massive value to their clients and stay between the lines on compliance. For more information, reach out to Steven and his team at www.retirementservice.com. Once again, that's www.retirementservices.com. Welcome to the show, sir.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you for that introduction. I appreciate it. Let's talk taxes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the point, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I said I want to give you guys a treat, because at the time of this plan is tax service. But that leads to the question. I'm gonna do it kind of opposite, because me and Steven, we just want to try to make it, like if you're at the table and you're doing you're taking care of your business or whatever, and you're eating and enjoying yourself. We're gonna go backwards, but we're gonna talk about the leadership in time, but we're gonna talk about the purpose of this on there. Steven, you made a post on LinkedIn. Make sure, guys, you also reach out to Steven on his LinkedIn channel if you're watching the LinkedIn. What's your handle for LinkedIn? I'm giving you.
You can just find me. Look for Steven Jarvis, maybe Steven Jarvis CPA. I come up pretty quickly.
Okay, and here's the point, ladies and gentlemen. Steven, is filing taxes and just take care of your taxes just a one-time thing?
Unfortunately, for most people, that's how they see it. But no.
Right.
Taxes is something we should be thinking about all the time, because it impacts everything we do. That's
right. So it doesn't matter if you have a business or you're doing your personal taxes because you just got off a job, whether you still should take care of your taxes. Especially my demographic, Stevens, I don't know if you know, most of my demographics between 40 years of age and above. So This is a good topic to focus on. So, ladies and gentlemen, he deals with retirement. He also has a form. He has another site too. If you're not in the business realm, you're not going away with taxes. There's two things: death and taxes, as they say, right? So
that's right.
It's still a good thing to stay on top of that. Am I right?
Oh, definitely. And you covered a little bit in the about me portion of that, but retirement tax services, that retirement word is in there not just because we work exclusively with retirees. We do a lot with retirees, but whether you're currently retired or you hope to someday retire, which I think is all of us,
That's right.
taxes is going to be a huge bill you have in retirement, likely the biggest. And one of the things that I really try to work with people to understand is that taxes are not set in stone as far as how much you're going to pay. You can make choices that will help reduce the amount of taxes you pay over your lifetime. And we're talking about completely valid, completely endorsed ways of doing this under the IRS's tax code. We're not talking about hoping somebody doesn't notice. We're talking about understanding and taking advantage of the opportunities available to you under the tax code. But you have to be proactive. If you just sit back and let this happen to you, the IRS is going to win.
So to be proactive, as he said before. So everyone goes through, I'm talking the business mindset. Everyone goes through hiccups, or it's good to you taking that chance to build your team for advisors or a respectable person such as yourself to get started. So I always believe get started. Don't let it bleed, as we say. So would you agree? So they got to get started some way, somehow.
Yep. You definitely have to get started, even if it's just simple things. I mean, taxes are intimidating. They're complex. Honestly, that's why I put out so much of the content I do. You mentioned I work with advisors. I also recently started a podcast for consumers, for taxpayers, called the Retirement Tax Podcast. And the goal is just to share as much information as we can, because for a lot of people, they file their taxes each year because they have to, and then they don't want to think about taxes because it's this big, scary, dark thing. And I get it; they are kind of scary. But like I said before, there are things we can do to be intentional and proactive if we'll take the time to do it. And to your point, you got to start somewhere. You can't wait until you wake up one day and you feel like you're an expert. Just get started.
Right. Would you agree it's good to reach out to someone such as yourself, or set up a time with someone such as yourself, because that's basically all they do, or that's basically all they network with people of like-minded such as yourself? That's what the purpose of your podcast is also.
Yeah, there's so many things in life where having a professional in your corner makes a huge difference. Taxes is one of these things that a lot of people feel like it's almost kind of a badge of honor to file their own taxes, to take care of their taxes themselves. I totally get it. And for a lot of people that can make a lot of sense. But this is, like I said, really complex area. If you can find a professional who focuses on this, and not just one of the important things here is you're not just looking for someone who's going to help you file your tax return each year. You're looking for someone who will look to the future with you, and that might be a tax professional, might be a CPA like myself, it might be an enrolled agent, it might be a financial advisor, it might be some kind of financial consultant. The more important part is that as you're evaluating who you're going to work with, that you're asking them questions about, hey, how do you consider taxes when you're making these recommendations? What kind of time period do you look at to help me understand the decisions available to me? You want to ask those probing questions out of the gate as you're looking for a professional to help you, to make sure this is a focus of theirs, and that they're going to think about the tax impact as they go along.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholasbrowninc.club. Hello, and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above, then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrowninc.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrowninc.club/partner. Because, ladies and gentlemen, everyone's situation is different, whether you're in business or whether you're a family member or whatever. Everyone's situation is not the same thing. So that's the purpose of listening to his podcast show. Get with someone such as yourself that he leads you to, where they'll tailor it to whatever your situation is at that time. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah, the first part of my response to any tax question is, well, it depends, because
Yeah,
like
right,
you said, it's
right.
very specific to individual situations, and that's why there's such a need for professionals who focus on that tax planning aspect, because the information is out there. Google has all of the information in the world, right? I don't have any data that Google doesn't also have. What I have is the ability to apply it to specific situations. You can
Right.
Google what are the income tax rates, and you're going to get a lot of answers, millions of answers actually. But if Nicholas, if you get on and say, what is Nicholas Brown's income tax rate? Google can't help.
Right.
Uh, I'm sorry, but Google doesn't know you that well. Google doesn't know me
Right.
that well either.
Right. Right. Alexa either. Whatever they say. Alexa,
Yeah,
tell me my
yeah.
tax rate. Right. That either. Well, tell me this. What got you into that field? What motivated you to become a CPA?
That's a great question. Um, and I mean, I know there's lots of kids out there, and grown-ups too, who think back about when they were kids and they thought, okay, they dreamed of some job they were going to have. If I'm going to be a firefighter, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to be a lawyer, whatever it is. I never dreamed about being a CPA.
Really?
I'll just be
Okay.
completely honest. And most people don't. I know a
Really?
lot of CPAs. We don't all we weren't using calculators when we were 3. So for me, really what it came down to is that I went to college because people told me I should. And when I was in my accounting classes that I was required to take, I kind of looked around and said, hey, this seems like it comes more naturally to me.
Okay.
And there's lots of jobs in accounting.
Okay.
That was my motivation, was really practical when I started.
Okay.
As I got further in my career and as I've focused on what I really want to do, what's motivated me to keep going is the impact I can have on individuals. That's why I created Retirement Tax Services about a year ago, to have this emphasis on working with individuals and their advisors so that I can directly impact as many lives as I can. We like to say we're changing the world one tax return at a time.
Okay. Well, that leads to the next question. Can you teach us on something? If I'm from Dallas, if I can't get a hold of you, teach me, how can I find someone that's like-minded like you, not the same as you, but like-minded? Well, teach us something. What should I look for if I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, or if, a financial advisor? What should I look for? Teach me something.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come back to those questions I was talking about. There
Okay.
are a lot of financial professionals out there. There's a lot of tax professionals out there, and a lot of people have fancy looking websites and the acronym soup after their name. I mean,
Yeah.
I definitely introduce myself as a CPA. I'm not saying there's not value in credentials, but that doesn't automatically mean you're going to get value from that professional. It's
Okay.
about understanding what those questions are you can ask to know if that person's really looking out for you in a well-rounded way. So whether you're looking for a financial advisor, and there's different websites and directories out there through organizations like the FPA or NAPFA, some of these national financial planning organizations, where you can find lists of, here's advisors in your area. But when you're deciding who to work with, I would recommend that some of the questions you ask have to do with taxes.
Okay.
Because we all pay taxes. Mentioned earlier, death and taxes, right? I mean,
That's right.
these things are inevitable. The real question is, what are you going to do to prepare for it? And so, as you know, so I can't specifically recommend by name a financial advisor in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Right. I'm just
There's
saying
probably
generic.
thousands of them.
Right. I'm
But
just saying generic or
when
whatever.
when you get it down to year 2 or 3, that hey, they're in your area, they
Okay.
serve people like you. It's another thing
Sure.
to look for is, hey, when you work with people like me, based what your career, your interests, whatever that is, you can find advisors who specialize, who get really focused on, I work with people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who have kids and a business and rental properties. I mean, if you dig, you can find people who get that specialized. But then you want to ask them those questions of, hey, in your planning process, how many years ahead are you looking for tax planning? Or when you're making these recommendations, what does it look like for you to consider what this means for my taxes? Just some of those questions. And now I get that asking some of those questions can feel intimidating. You might have listeners who are saying, great, he's a CPA, of course he's going to ask about the taxes because he'll understand the answer. And I get that. But it's not really, this isn't a quiz. You don't need to go in there with this cheat sheet of, oh, I'm hoping that their answer is 7. Like,
Right.
But
Right.
this is more just kind of an evaluation to see if they can if they can speak to those things, if they can acknowledge, yeah, here's how it works in my process, or if they're dismissive of it and say, oh, well, you know what, your tax preparer can worry about that.
No, I don't like
There's
that.
just taxes impact so much of what we do that if your advisor is dismissive of that being important, it might be time to find someone new.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholasbrowninc.club.
Hello and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above,
then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrowninc.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrowninc.club/partner. Okay. Great answer, as they say. Like the game, that's a great answer, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm about to wrap this up. I appreciate your time because you pretty much got straight to the point.
That's the CPA in me. We're just all about business.
I love that. Time is money that you get taxed for. So my next question is, you had a team under you, right? Do you have a currently? Okay.
Yep. Leadership.
Everyone's techniques is different. What is your thoughts on what is leadership to you?
Oh man, that's a great question. I mean, with the hundreds of books that are written on that every single year, I'm not sure I'm going to sum this up in a podcast. So I probably
okay.
will reference some of those books. Leadership to me, when I look at how I want to be a leader, the first thing that comes to mind is extreme ownership, which was a book by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, a couple of former Navy SEALs. Was not in the military myself, but have a ton of respect for people who have been. And I came across their book a few years ago, and it's impacted everything I do. From a really high level, and hopefully Jocko never listens to this because I'm sure I'll get it wrong, but from really high level, the idea is that if you want to be a leader that really has an impact, everything starts and stops with you. It doesn't matter whose fault something is. It's your responsibility as the leader to make sure it happens differently the next time. And so it's this idea that no matter what goes wrong, my first thought should be, what could I have done different? Even if someone else is the one who made the mistake. And the two of them share some pretty powerful stories, things that I couldn't even begin to fathom that has to do with like fatalities and things like that. And so as I look at my own life and taxes, it's a little bit more benign, but it doesn't matter if someone on my team did something wrong. And I can clearly see, okay, they're the ones that made the choice. My thought process needs to be, well, how could I have trained them different? What process could I have put in place? It needs to come back to me. And the other thing that came out of that book is that there's this idea that no matter what goes wrong, your response should be good. That's an opportunity for improvement. So no matter what terrible things happen, good, now we can learn from that. Good, now we can improve our process. Good, now we can hire a new team member, whatever it is. But so those two kind of ideas. And there's plenty else I've learned from great leaders I've worked with, I've served with, but those are two themes that always come to mind for me: that extreme ownership and that idea of no matter what goes wrong, good. Well, now let's go get some.
This episode is brought to you by Nicholasbrowninc.club.
Hello and thanks for watching this brief video. My name is Nicholas Brown. I'm an author and a residential developer here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and we're on target this quarter of redeveloping 5 properties here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And our passive investors, they're just sitting back and relaxing it because they're enjoying receiving the double-digit returns, which is protected, secured, and insured. So if you're a passive investor, or if you have 401k or retirement income or decent credit scores in the 700 and above,
then download our chart for more information at nicholasbrowninc.club/partner, and I'll send you our DFW double-digit returns case study chart. Once again, for more information, go to nicholasbrownrei.club/partner. That's awesome. Because that mindset is how can we move forward when you say good, but positive? How can we keep progress moving on? Man, that's solid. That's solid. So, one more question. We're just about done, ladies and gentlemen. Perspective. What is your perspective on your CPA and you deal with financial planners? How many years have you been in the field?
Going on 12.
Okay. Has it changed some, especially with the social media and everything, how we're online?
It constantly changes for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your perspective? Is it easier now, or is it more, hard to reach a client or a potential client? Or what's your perspective on your field as a CPA and dealing with the retirement field now? How has it changed? Or what do you see happening?
That's a good question.
Is it positive or negative, or do we move forward as you say as a leader?
Yeah, that's kind of what it comes back to is I don't. Maybe this is getting off of your question a little bit, but so like one theme that's been kind of hanging over the accounting profession for years is this idea that everything's going to get automated and we're all like the computers are going to take over our jobs, right? I mean that theme kind of comes up in other fields as well. And people ask me if I worry about that. I said, no, I don't worry about that at all, because computers are really good at doing repetitive tasks. And the people who design these programs are getting smarter and they're making them even more capable of doing different repetitive tasks. But maybe I'm just narrow-minded. I can't envision a future where there isn't a way for me to add value to my clients. Mm-hmm. How I add value keeps changing. And so I guess from a perspective standpoint, it's important that whatever it is you do, whether you're a tax professional, financial professional, or do something completely unrelated, your core purpose can't be tied to I do taxes. It can't be tied to I do real estate, whatever industry you're in. It needs to be I deliver value.
That's right.
Because then as things change, so if tomorrow somebody comes, Google, here's me making fun of them not knowing you well enough, and Google comes out tomorrow with a new program that does all the tax stuff that I currently do, and everything I do right now can be done by Google tomorrow. Good. Now there's going to be other ways that I can serve my clients. But that doesn't put me out of a job. And since my core purpose isn't tied to just only taxes, it's delivering value to my clients. Great. Now I can pivot and find another way to add value to my clients. And obviously that's an extreme example of Google coming out and having a software that replaces me tomorrow. But even in small things, having that mindset of I'm looking for how I deliver value keeps pushing you forward, because now even if there is no disruption to your industry, even there's no big software that comes and changes it all, every year, every quarter, whatever time period, you're looking for what's the next way I can deliver value.
That's key, man. That's key. You motivated me on that. Because did you play sports? Did you play sports?
I was exceptionally mediocre at sports in high school. I'm actually a better athlete now than I ever was as a kid.
That's competitive nature. That's why I say, man, you never quit. I leave value and be competitive, move forward. That's leadership. So you're competitive. So I never worry about competition. I never worry about competition. I'll try to give as much value and be competitive. If I don't know the answer, I will find out. I want to be competitive to build a business. I don't want everyone. I always tell my daughter, don't be like everybody, be somebody. Don't try to be like everybody. So build your value and be competitive. That was a great answer, man. You motivated me. I'm ready to go running now. That was solid, man.
Perfect. Perfect. You pick out a race that we can run together in Dallas Fort Worth. I'll come down.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, Steven, I appreciate you coming on. How can they get in contact with you? What's your podcast information again? Ladies and gentlemen,
so there's a couple of different ways you can get more of what I'm putting out there. The Retirement Tax Podcast is my podcast I do for taxpayers. Retirementtaxservices.com is our website. I'm really active on LinkedIn. So those are usually the best ways to track down more information from me.
Okay, sounds good. Well, hey, Steve, man, I appreciate your time here, man. I definitely love to have you by the end of this year. Come back with another series or something like that. Any tips, whatever. But I'm definitely going to put this information, ladies and gentlemen, in the description. And thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I was happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Nicholas.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. And as I say, I always end with it. Don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.
Thanks for joining us on the Nicholas Brown Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, www.nickbrowninc.com, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. If you like this show and you are a new real estate investor, then check out one of Nicholas's free reports called the Wholesale Dominator Report, also located on our website, www.nickbrowninc.com/free reports. Be sure to tune in for our next episode. And remember, don't condemn, don't complain, because you have a choice to make a change. Have a great day.